Shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise to YAHAWASHI, double one's El Apostle, the wisdom and taught us the truth, and blessings all you sincere days out there Christian truth, and all sincerity and faith and honesty. Alright, we're just going to get right into it. It will really be a brief lesson straight to the point. And what we're going to get at is the police identified California bar mass shooting suspect at former Marine Ian David Long. So this is that shooting that transpired today in California. All right, it says member of FBI investigate the site of a mass shooting at a bar in Thousand Oaks, California, November 8th, 2018. And of course, this more than likely is a false flag. Because, shootings just keep continuing over and over and over again. It's kind of like old now, like this shooting, that shooting, that shooting. And really all it is this gun control. The government want to confiscate the guns because if they disarm the citizens, all right, it'll be easier to overtake the citizens. And that's a quote from Hitler. Now when you research that quote disarming the citizens is easy to overtake them. All right, there's really no evidence that he did say that, and there's no evidence to discredit that he didn't say it. All right, so give or take. But anyways, if you disarm the citizens, it's easier to overtake them because according to the Second Amendment, you got that page? Read it real quick for yourself.
Yeah, this is the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution. The Second Amendment to the United States Constitution protects the right of the people to keep and bear arms.
And so the Second Amendment, the so-called founding fathers, they gave that amendment, so the citizens have a right to bear arms. All right, go ahead.
So it basically says that they, in the Bill of Rights, I'll just get up to the point. The Supreme Court ruled in 2008, held a decision that the right belongs to individuals in their homes for self-defense.
So it's for you to defend yourself. All right, what the government's trying to do is do all these false flags. They have these crisis actors, which the brother gonna get into in a minute. They try to do all these false flags so what? When they come into your homes to inflict that martial law, all right, to take over, to take your rights from you. All right, if they have you already disarmed, if they take the guns away from you, and the people are willingly going to give up the guns because as the shooting transpired today, I had a date come up and tell me, he said it's a damn shame that you can't even. He said it happened at a bar. He said you can't even go to a local bar and sit without worrying about somebody coming in and shooting, shooting up the place, and you can't even go into a mall or wherever you at in public without shooting up the place. Shalom. Hey, I remember your mom was at the store there. She was like, she don't go nowhere if she can't bring her gun. She said that in movies. So what it is that the whole gun control thing is that they're doing that. They're doing all these false flags to make you feel unsafe, to make you want to give up your rights. Exactly, fear. They're playing on fear. So what it is, pretty much, in the near future, it's going to be if you have a gun, you're going to be considered a criminal. All right, so they're gonna deem guns and either people as bad and take that whole Second Amendment, founding fathers idea out of your head as for your protection because they're gonna use it as people are killing people, but guns don't kill people. People kill people. All right, we always use the analogy when you let's say somebody was to shoot someone or whatever. That gun is not going to go on trial, all right? They're not going to ask the gun, what happened, why did you shoot, why did you shoot him, or, no, they're going to say, they're going to ask the person that used that weapon, why did you do this or why did you do that? So it's not the guns that's the problem, it's the people. All right, it's really the government that's trying to take the weapons away from you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
this is the second part of it. It was right. All right.
Yeah. The Second Amendment was based partially on the right to keep and bear arms in English common law and was influenced by the English Bill of Rights of 1689. Sir William Blackstone described this right as an auxiliary right supporting the natural rights of self-defense and resistance to oppression.
So resistance to oppression, go ahead.
And the civic duty to act in concert in defense of the state.
So if you look up that what it says, resistance to oppression, the reason why the so-called founding fathers made that Second Amendment, so just in case there was a rogue government or tyrannical leaders, right? The people, the leaders, like let's say Donald Trump, he just went off and just starts passing all kind of crazy laws and using the military to pretty much to crack down on the people for no reason. You know, just for no reason, just to oppress the people. Well, the founding fathers put that amendment in place so what if they could form a militia to fight against the government if the government ever came down on them, oppressing them in a wicked way, so to say. So what they want to do is they want to take those rights away from you. That's why you have these fake false flags here. It's like I said, the gunman who shot and killed 12 people in California bar, popular lived. 12 victims died, including a security guard outside the bar and a sheriff's deputy who was among the first to respond to the shooting. Long was also found dead at the scene, which they always do. Yeah. They say the person that did the crimes, he was found dead at the scene, which is easy because a dead person can't talk. Yeah. You know, so they announced him to be dead. So you know, so the cover up. That's pretty much the cover up. You know what happens so that the person, oh, he's dead, or oh, remember, it was I forget, it was two dudes that got same incident, but one of them somehow he got shot in his throat, so he couldn't talk. You know what I mean? So it's all so they can't talk, so we can't get information out of him because he can't talk. Yeah. You know, that's what they do. So it says Long was also found dead at the scene. Preliminary investigations indicate that he took his own life before SWAT team members stormed the building. Yeah. Which is all the time. They always take their own lives. Why? To cover it up. But really what it is just repetitive. So they control the record. No face, no case. Exactly. So if you want to get into yours real quick, and you know, speak on, you put up a video earlier today.
This is basically on Wikipedia, crisis actor. It says a crisis actor, aka actor patient or actor victim, alright, is a trained actor, role player, volunteer, or other persons engaged to portray a disaster victim during emergency drills to train first responders such as police, firefighters, or EMT personnel. This is also why we have something that they would say order ad appeal, man. Alright? Because what? This man is the one who is creating a problem. Alright? And how does he create a problem? By promoting these crisis actors, man. Okay, and out there also, and I found out too, out there in the Thousand Oaks, California, alright? That's a place known for where the elites will do their sacrifices, man. Okay, so that right.
Yeah, 12 there, right?
Yeah, 12. And that's right, and that's the spirit too, because at the time of them doing that recording, it was 505, which it all goes back to symbolism, man. Okay, and we can read about that in the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, around the 12th verse, man. Okay, because this man uses sorcery and witchcraft.
Hey, and how convenient is it for during the midterm elections this past? Yeah. You know, all this stuff.
Halloween just passed too.
So these new governors and new president, we need to act on this gun control thing, man. Get more control of these guns. You know, so
basically
it's so
they
convenient.
want to get hard. They basically gonna get harder and harder on it. So you know, these are gonna lose his patience. You know, basically gonna come down to that with martial arts and
crisis actors are used to create high-fidelity simulations of disasters in order to allow first responders to practice their skills and help emergency services organizations to prepare and train in realistic scenarios as part of full-scale disaster exercises. So there it is, man. To practice in real life scenarios, man, which will be what? Them coming down with that great wrath, man. Okay, to where when Al-Fadid mainly is being mandatory, man. Okay, what? So Esau Edom is going to have what's that martial law? To where you're gonna have a curfew out here, man. Okay, but what? It's all to take away your guns, man.
Hey, and going back to the Second Amendment, a curfew, that's taking away the rights. That's oppression. You mean tell me I can't go outside my house at a certain amount of time? Going back to the Second Amendment. So what? The Second Amendment was in place to fight against certain oppression like that, such as martial law. You know, so if this troops walking the ground saying we got to be in the house, what? Militias, you would be able to perform a militia to fight against the, you know, certain things like that.
Now, you see with these false flags and stuff, you know, you only get so far with these false flags because, why? Because the Constitution still stands, right? And the only way the Constitution and these, you know, these amendments, you know, that would constitute the beginning of the foundation of this nation, this law won't stand once martial law is enacted.
That's exactly right. That's right. Yeah. Giving over to the government. Giving over all that military.
So if you have, so look, during the time, if you have the Second Amendment, and if you have a weapon in that time, that means the Second Amendment is void, and therefore you are a criminal now that you have a gun. That makes you a criminal. So you have to turn in your weapons.
And you see how that the dude was, it says in the shooting, his name David Long, he was a former Marine. So you know the people that are really going to fight for this amendment are who? The people that they actually do fight for this country, so to say. You know, they have, you know, they went to war to protect the Constitution. You know, so they don't start deeming, you know, their own people enemies of the state. That's the martial law in there.
That's the terrorists, man.
And when you go into the etymology of that word martial, it basically means laws given over to the military. Right?
And that's it on the crisis gun. And now I have another article here that says, what happens when governments disarm their citizens? It says, here's a history of what happens after governments have disarmed their citizens. In 1911, Turkey disarmed its citizens. And between 1915 and 1917, they murdered 1.5 million Armenians. All right, so in 1911, Turkey disarmed its citizens. All right, and from the year 1915 to the year 1917, they murdered 1.5 million Armenians. Now, if they want to disarm their citizens, those casualties, 1.5 million wouldn't have been so high. All right, another history. 1929, Russia disarmed its citizens, and between 1929 and 1953, they murdered 20 million Russians. In 1935, China disarmed its citizens, and between 1948 and 1952, they murdered 20 million Chinese. In 1938, German citizens, Germany disarmed its citizens, and between 1939, they murdered 16 million Jews, if we know about that. Since 1956, Cambodia disarmed its citizens, and between 1975 and 1977, they murdered 1 million educated people. In 1964, Guatemala disarmed its citizens. Between 1964 and 1981, they murdered 100,000 Mayan Indians. And it says in 1970, Uganda disarmed its citizens, and between 1971 and 1979, 300,000 Christians. Now it says, you can argue about the numbers, but the point here is that disarmed citizens are vulnerable. That that there are many historical examples of disarmed citizens being killed and oppressed by their government, their own government. Now, if you go back to the Second Amendment, once again, the Second Amendment was in place for you to pretty much be on the opposing side of that oppression.
To be able to separate.
Exactly. Separate yourself from the government. All right, and that's why Texas at one point in time, they wanted to do that.
That's how they call it Lone Star.
Exactly. They wanted to do that. They wanted to separate themselves from the government. And the government knew, hey, if they would have declared war on Texas, you know Texas, they got the open carry law. They can, you can look that up on YouTube. They can literally walk around with an assault rifle on their neck or whatever, open carry. So, you know, it would have been a major civil war if they would have did that in Texas. There it says, the excuse given by authorities that they need to take guns away from citizens in order to lower crime rates is not supported by facts. So that's what they say. We need to take away guns in order to lower crime rates, like what happened today in California. So if we take away guns, that's going to lower the gun crime rates. It says people are less safe because unarmed citizens are easy targets to criminals. So the opposing argument to that is, and that's why they always have the gun law debate. All right, these politicians and these governors, they always have a debate. And you know, two of the opposing things like they like to say is, well, if the citizens arm themselves, less casualties will happen because they'll be able to shoot back at the person that's killing. Which is true. If somebody come into some theater or whatever, and the citizens, use their Second Amendment right, they could fight back. So they saying that's not. So they saying that's not the case. You know, so that's an argument to getting rid of guns. You know, they saying it's not the case. You know, because why? If they had weapons, they'd be able to defend themselves. It says over and over again, it has clearly shown that taking guns away from citizens does not lead to a decrease in a crime, but rather a dramatic increase. All right? Because why? Why does it bring a dramatic increase? Because why? The people like, well, they cracking down on guns. Well, I need to hurry up and get me one. So I won't, you know. So when they do, exactly. So when they do, I have access to them. When they do make restrictions.
The NRA
exactly
makes a lot of money off these shootings because people start doing a gun.
What gun sales go right up? So every time a shooting pop off, gun sales go up, man. Yeah. You know, every time a president is elected, well, when Obama was elected, gun sales went up because why? They thought Obama was going to come after the guns. You know, it says Australia has disarmed its citizens, and a year later, a homicide rate in the largest province is up 300%. The burglaries of seniors is dramatically up. So what? Once you disarm the citizens, crime rates go up because people not worried about you shooting them when you come in their house. Man. They don't have that fear that, oh, if I go inside this man's house, it's a good chance that I might get hit with a bullet. You know, so the people, that's the people's defense against disarming, right? It says, I guess criminals did not turn their weapons in, only innocent law-abiding citizens turn their weapons in, which is true. Because if you have a gun registered, you're going to be on that list. They're going to go on that list, knocking on door to door like they heard in Katrina. Yeah. All right, you have this weapon registered, we need it. Yeah. Cause so that's the only people that's going to be turning the guns in is law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens. Yeah. All right. It says in U.S. cities with the highest crime rates, taking guns away from citizens has not lowered the homicide rate. All it has done is make it easier for criminals to operate. Because why criminals have no fear. They have nothing to worry about to people are disarmed. It says the Second Amendment is not about duck hunting or deer hunting. It's about having the ability and the right to defend oneself and your family. Which is right, man. You know, you want to defend yourself. You know, certain brothers or whatever, hey, nothing wrong with it, but we don't promote that here. All right, it says it doesn't matter if that threat is a burglar or a federal government. A disarmed population is fair game for any president who may be aspiring to become a dictator. And what Trump is showing those kind of characteristics, becoming a dictator. You know, exactly. It says having its citizens armed was the plain and simple intent of the founding fathers of our country, and that's right. These people don't want to get rid of their guns. Now, here's some little history right here. And the brother Michael Ali, he got one as well. It says how Russians lost their own Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. I'm going to get a scripture precept real quick before I get into this. You know, because we read disarm the citizens. It says it doesn't matter if the threat is burglar or a federal government. A disarmed population is fair game for any president who may be aspiring to become a dictator. All right. And what? Once a president declared martial law, he's pretty much a dictator after that. Yeah. All the amendments, everything is suspended. Constitution is suspended. All right, go ahead.
This is 2 Ezra chapter 16. I'm going to start at verse 7. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord.
In the form of martial law, man. All right. Not elect. Oh, our hope is not in weapons, but we bring out that scripture to let you know, if they gonna send those martial law troops in, but first they gotta disarm the people, man. Mm-hmm. And they gonna do that in the form of martial law, because the martial law troops gonna be the one disarming people, man. Coming through, knocking on your door, and confiscating your weapons, your firearms.
Right, and there's nothing you can do about
exactly.
it, because the law has been given over to the military.
Yeah. You have your Second Amendment right. I have a Second Amendment right. I can keep. No, you can't keep that, man.
Yeah, and that's why all this is going on, to take that
to take it away.
Yeah, and like you can see, these little, I don't say little, these mass shootings are not, they create a buzz, but they're not going to be able to, the American government is not going to be able to come down and take away the guns while the Constitution stands. So they're going to have to go into martial law. And, the United States, in a sense, already goes into martial law. For example, when Hurricane Michael hit, just passed, what they do, you gotta evacuate your homes, right? Yeah. You gotta leave all your goods, and you can't they export you to,
and you can't bring no weapon in those facilities.
So while you're going there, they can take out a fair game. And even in California with those forest fires, so to say, they back people out the home. That's a sense of martial law. So it's gonna have to be a large scale event, because again, these mass shootings aren't gonna be enough. The government's gonna have to put some type of event to go into martial law.
Nationwide, worldwide.
Exactly.
And that's why all these catastrophic events is happening nationwide, man. Because it's all being issued out. It's a world war for that. Yeah, that's right. Ultimately, to come up with this is truth.
Exactly.
Second Ezra chapter 16.
And like you said, ultimately, it's like ultimately to come against the truth, and ultimately to pretty much deem the men of the Lord as so-called terrorists.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really what they want to do, man. That's why they have all these things in place, man. That's why we always get on those camps about that carnal stuff, man. Posting up on YouTube and social media with guns and shooting ranges and stuff, man. Wearing vests and shields and stuff. We supposed to be presented as harmless, man. Shoot them on the way.
Weapons of our warfare is not harmless. We're supposed to be having the only one rule on this is truth.
That's why we constantly get on those camps about that carnal shit, man.
Giving them more fuel.
Yeah, more fuel to come down on.
Because in the back of these elites' minds, what they want for this world population, they want that new world order. So it's gonna come in the form of genocide. Do the Guidestones, they want. This is the build up for
which is why they want gun control. Why they keep promoting, these false flags and stuff. Every time there's a shooting, the dude is dead. He's dead. He's dead on the scene. Come on, man. Go ahead.
He shot himself.
Yeah, he shot himself before the police got there, which is so easy to clean up.
Yeah. Verse 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none.
So they shall be like madmen, sparing none. I mean, and it's evident, man. Watch the movie. They kick down your door. You start spraying and laying loose, man. You seen SWAT videos, man? How they come in with their weapons, man.
What they did to that Jake woman not too long ago, Corey Gaines. All right.
I think
got pulled over. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it was a chick too. She got pulled over. All right, not too long ago. Or what? She had reported SWAT knocking down her door, man. Okay, but what? It's not time for prophecy, man. It wasn't that time for that prophecy to be fulfilled. That's why she got done in, man. It's just how it is, man. Just to tell you, no man perish being innocent. Verse 72. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses.
So they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Now, if the citizens are not armed, how easy is it going to be for them to do that? Very easy, man. No resistance. Exactly. They ain't got to worry about when they come into your house and kick you out. They ain't got to worry about you bullets. The only thing they got to worry about is shooting. They don't got to worry about bullets coming back at them if they disarm you, man. If you willingly give up your weapons, because that's what they're doing. They're playing on your mind with fear. Yeah, I'm with. They're gonna pretty much. You gonna pretty much give your right to it. Yeah, I'm with gun control because it's too dangerous, too much violence. Yeah, my kids, we might as well just give it up.
The government is not worried about so-called masses. The masses is easy to manipulate.
Yeah.
But the rebels, resistance, they're trying to minimize that number as much as they can. That's what's going on.
Minimize as much as possible because they already know they ain't gonna be the Patriots. Them diehard, they already know that. But if they can get the masses, which the masses are going to agree, if they can get the masses move, the masses get fear to give in all their guns. Like you can easy Google search gun drives. They have so many gun drives to where they just come bring in
couple months ago here,
or get a free PS4 or something. Something stupid, man. And that's gonna be the same thing with the chip. Go ahead,
Verse 73. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried in the gold in the fire.
So we understood. We know that being men of the Lord, they gonna come at us. They gonna come. That martial law too. Some of us might be subject to that, man. Being hauled off to a concentration camp. hey, it is what it is. You know, we just pray the Lord be with us. You know, we're not arming up or nothing, man. My faith is solely in the Lord. You know, about all right. This is just like I said, getting some history right here, because it said, in 1929, Russia disarmed the citizens between 1929 and 1950. 53 selected. They murdered 21 million Russians. Now, this article is posted November 28, 2017, so it's relevant. Right? It says, how Russians lost their own Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. It says, before the revolution, guns were an abundant supply in major Russian cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. The St. Petersburg, Florida is what was named after St. Petersburg, Russia. I forget who named it, but that's what they named after. So it says, guns were abundantly supplied in Russian cities, which is now, man. You know, you can, they always have local gun shows. You know, you can go down to the local gun show and buy guns without having license or anything, man. You know, so same thing now. It says packing heat in the country is no easy task. This is now. It says you need to pass a strict background check, and only then can you own a hunting rifle. All right. Things were different when the stars ruled over the land, though. Every man and his dog owned a weapon. It says in Russia, people love guns. Officers, merchants, students, respectable dames, and young ladies all had a favorable handgun, sometimes more than one. However, by the end of 1917, revolutionary authorities had restricted the right to carry firearms. Alright, it says before the revolution, guns were in abundant supply in major Russian cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg. Newspaper advertised Brownings, Magnets, Monsters, and other models of handgun which were as popular as they were affordable. A brand new Monster would set you back 45 or so rubles. So there were also plenty of cheaper second-hand guns floating around. To put this in perspective, a janitor's average monthly salary in Moscow was 40 rubles. So he was able to purchase a handgun. He says, but even then, Russians were not completely free of governmental intervention when it came to firing hot lead. Alright, let me get to the point here. Random and frequent indoor shootings were a serious worry in the 17th century Moscow, where almost all buildings were made of wood. It says, naturally judging, example, everyone seemed to ignore the new rule until much later. A new wave of restrictions came in 1845, when a comprehensive set of gun laws restricted owners even further. The legislation prohibited shooting outdoors in crowded places unless clearly necessary. Although Russians were now stripped of their right to shoot for fun, nobody threatened to take away their guns, but this all changed with the revolution. Total disarmament. It says the revolution put an end to the free circulation of guns among the general public. All right, now, like you said, man, you can go out there and you can purchase a gun anyways. It's in circulation. It's very easy. It says the leaders of the uprising knew only too well what the masses were capable of, especially if armed up to the teeth, and moved to monopolize gun ownership. So it says the leaders of the uprising knew only too well what the masses were capable of. So the guns circulating like that, like, hold on. If they really wanted to, they can form a coup and overthrow the government, you know, and get the power back to the people. So like, hold on, we gotta crack down on that. And it's pretty much just what's happening right now. People are waking up. It's a massive waking happening. Where people are being hit to the government. You know, I see bumper stickers talking about 9/11 truth, and I type 9/11 truth in. All right, and it's an actual site of, man, thousands of people saying how 9/11 was an inside job.
Yeah.
All right, so people are waking up. Are hit to the
even in comments,
articles.
Exactly.
People know. You know, so
right about losing this witchcraft like secrecy.
It says the leaders of uprising knew only too well that the masses were capable of, especially if armed to the teeth, and moved monopolized gun ownership. It says in 1918 initiated a large-scale confiscation of civilian firearms, outlawing their possession and threatening up to 10 years of prison for concealing a gun. So they made it illegal, right? So when they make guns illegal here in America, you're gonna be a criminal, man, if you have a gun. And that's pretty much what it's gonna come boil down to.
You know, I mean, add to then everybody's gonna be a fucking terrorist.
Yeah.
All right, and that's why the scriptures say, you gonna come down with great wrath.
And it's already in law. The Patriot Act, we already all consider this domestic terror.
They already have
By
some,
law, we're already
we already know their role, man. They already have some called blackness, man. Okay, why? Because his truth is coming out, man. That, like the brother said, this man is losing his sorcery, his witchcraft. He once had everything under control. All right, but now what? Job 14 and 5, man. All right, the days of this man's kingdom is numbered, man. Okay, down that he cannot pass, and now that everything that he realized that he thought he had under control is actually escaping him. Why? Because he is fulfilling prophecy, right?
And he realized that he got to make that move fast.
That's right.
So what? He got to get this gun agenda. He got to get this thing moving, man.
And that's why you see more false flags and crisis actors, right?
Back to back,
you know. And be prepared to see more, man.
More, exactly.
All right. Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
So man, these false flags are just gonna get worse, man. The numbers are gonna go up. It's gonna get worse, man. Because why? He has to crack down on people. His new world order cannot come to pass, which ain't gonna come to pass anyway. But he can't have a new world order with armed citizens. It's just not gonna work. You gotta disarm all the citizens. The new world order is not gonna flow with when you got citizens that have weapons. You know? So these false flags, the devil's gonna come down having great wrath. So hey man, this, you know, be circumspect, you know, for you brothers out there, man. You know, where you go, everything. Hang around 2/3, wherever it may be, man. You know, you gotta call all that stuff out, man. Cause you can get, hey, you be out there surfing or whatever, the 2/3 hanging out, and hey, you get caught up, in one of Esau's false flags, man. You know, and get hit, you know, get hit out there, you know, instead of being at home in the scripture and doing what you're supposed to do. Lord, you know, have you get hit out there.
Because the scriptures also say man is going to the Lord. Being part of that number, you ain't going to have no danger or hurt. You got to have faith. You know, and like the brother said, stay circumspect. That's all something that we are built in that faith.
Like the brother said, faith, man.
That's right. I brought out the faith.
Don't be moved by this fear. You know, you gotta go to work, go to work. You gotta go to the store, man. You know, we're not moved by that. You know, we protected by YAHAWASHI outside. You know, but you don't want to be in that wrong spirit out there in the club, or somewhere. And folly.
Yeah, because them false flags, we don't know per se how many people die, like I said, but we know the crisis actors, you know, they say they have these people on the scene to control the rhetoric. It's not about the people who died. So who knows, you know, if they died or not, but it's the point of why that phase was shot up.
Exactly. That reaction of people crying and sobbing and saying this happened and that happened, man. They can care less about them. They just throw a number out there. You know? Because you know, people won't believe anything anyways. You ain't gonna do no research. You're not gonna further look into it. You're just going, oh, it's getting crazy. It's a shame that all these people are killed. So all of a sudden, people just start doing this. Like, come on. What triggered that? You got a wise person to think, damn, what triggered all
much
this?
more sinister than the surface is what common people see.
Exactly. That's something.
Yeah. 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Not ignorant of devices, just imaginations, man. Right? And we're not gonna be moved by fear by this, man. You know, we're protected by YAHAWASHI outside. You know, we see through it all. You know, the people aren't the terrorists, it's the government that's the terrorists. Alright? I got a little bit more on this left. It says, revolution put an end to the free circulation of guns among the general public. Now this is going back talking about Russia. It says the leader, says initiated a large-scale confiscation. In 1918, Russia initiated a large-scale confiscation of civilian firearms, outlawing their possession and threatening up to 10 years in prison for concealing a gun. The only exception was made for hunters who were allowed to possess smoothbore weapons. Gun license, however, was strictly regulated and only issued by the NKVD. The police organization known for its role in St. Joseph's dying political purges. It was only a matter of time before Russia became an almost totally gun-free nation. Some people believe Russians would regain their right to own guns after the collapse. Today, Russians can only legally buy smoothbore guns for hunting and sports, as well as firearms for self-defense. Applying for a gun license also involves a pretty rigorous background check. So, like we said today, guns is in free circulation. Man, you can go to a gun show. You can go online right now, man, and purchase a firearm. Man. You know, it said in a nutshell, Russians can buy some guns even today, but luckily most have abandoned their ancestors' favorite pastime of shooting. So that's it on that. You know, there's some history about gun confiscation. I think the brother got one in Australia.
Yeah, so basically, you know, in Australia, there was, so in 1996, there was, yeah, so, I think you had a stat about Australia, I heard you do that. All right, yeah. So, yeah, in 1996, you know, Australia had a mass shooting, and you can see the parallels of the rhetoric.
Like that, actually. Australia has disarmed its citizens, and a year later, the homicide rate in largest province is up 300%. Tuberculosis of seniors is dramatically up.
Exactly, yeah. So we see taking away guns has nothing to do but with the government just trying to come down. But here, this is the story. So to say that in Australia, 1996, it's called Port Arthur massacre, resulted in legislation basically taking away Australia's right to bear arms. Okay, so here it is, April 28, 1996, a 20-year-old Australian man named Martin Bryant basically, he shot up a cafe. All right, it was a mass shooting. Same thing going on here in America, right? So Australia, which is a nation that is here, it says Australia, a nation that has traditionally had a high rate of gun ownership. Okay, so you see the parallels. In the United States, I don't know what the percentage is, but there's a high percentage of the American people who are armed with firearms. Okay, and Australia was the same way. But Australia is a small scale of, again, the rhetoric of the agenda of these elites. So Australia is just like a project, so to say. The continent of Australia alone only has no more than 30 million people. There's some states here in America that have more people. That's why it's more complicated here in America. All right, but this false flag, this mass shooting, moved legislation to come down on the Australian people and take away their guns. All right, so you can see the same, exactly, it's the same thing. All right, so right now, if the government of Australia wanted to come down on martial law, which they have, then the citizens have no defense.
Right? Hey, I think Australia, what they had, I was reading, they had like the longest time of martial law ever recorded.
Yeah. So that story is so basically martial law just promotes a way for government to create genocide. Right. So here in Australia, I think it was 1828. I think it's 3 years. Australia went into martial law, basically on the Aboriginals of Tasmania. All right, so the Tasmanians, which is a small island off the coast of Australia, the continent, all right, they came in, so they were going war with, basically how in America, they went to war with the natives. Okay, all right, so the government of Australia went to war with the Tasmanians, the Aboriginals. All right, so in 1828, they initiated martial law. All right, and in those 3 years, they basically exterminated the Aboriginals in Tasmania. All right, so, and historians call it basically that was them going to martial law was the genocide of the Tasmanian Aboriginals. Okay, and here today, they have an animal called the Tasmanian devil. They named the animal after these people. They call them the devil. They got cartoons and Looney Tunes. They call them the Tasmanian devil. It spins around, and they call those people savages. All right, but basically they promote genocide. Martial law just promotes genocide. Right?
I read the stats, man. 1911 Turkey, 1929. They kill millions of people every time they disarm the citizens. So
no difference than in certain of these crisis actors today.
Exactly. And we actually had to reload, to redo this live feed like a couple times, because like once we put out notification about gun control, they wouldn't allow us to even bring it out, man. So we had to switch up some things, use a different phone, and then still it's like we wouldn't let it, but you know, through the grace of the Lord, it allowed us. But the brother said it sounds staticky. So, you know, what can you expect, man? You know, don't want information to come out, but you got to do something.
Yeah, come on. Jeremiah 18, verse 22.
Come on.
Let a cry be heard from their houses when thou shalt bring a troop suddenly upon them.
Come on, so, hey, martial law. A cry be heard from the houses when they shall bring the troops suddenly come, bro.
For they have dig a pit to take me and hid snares for my feet.
Come on, Jeremiah. Right?
Yeah, kind of. And also, if I might add too, Jeremiah represents the prophets today.
Exactly.
All right.
So, that was that he's pretty much setting up a curse.
Yeah, and a curse. Yeah.
You know, he's sending a troop upon him.
That's right.
That's what's gonna happen.
That's right.
Right?
Yet, Lord YAHAWASHI, thou knowest all their counsel against me to slay me. Forgive not their iniquity, neither blot out their sin from thy sight.
So that's a prophet saying that. So forgive you not, man. Let the troops come upon them, right?
Come, but let them be overthrown before thee. Deal thus with them in the time of thine anger.
So 80. With Psalm 17, the sword of the Lord, right? It's gonna be a sword slaughter, man. When the martial law troops come in, last scripture, not 37, but you know. When the martial law troops come in, man, to disarm you and all these false flags pop off, and Esau do some mad stuff, man. Like Elder Gabar said, he said he think the next false flag is going to be like, it's going to be bigger than 9/11. It's going to be multiple. Like, they're going to be all over. Yeah, it's going to be all over, man. You're going to have all kinds of stuff, man.
That's what's going to start. That's what's going to be those race wars and civil wars and upwards of most people. Right, it's going to happen nationwide, man. This is why he has not only crisis actors here, but also this man got agents over in these other countries, man. You know,
shootings happen over there in Europe all the time, man. You know, it's a world. It's a global thing, man.
That's why they want a
new world order.
One world government, man.
Northern Order Supreme.
Yeah. God, what makes you think they just gonna have it going on over here? No, this man has been given power over the whole earth, man.
It's gonna be a global gun confiscation.
That's right, man.
You know, it's only a matter of time. You know, it's gonna come to pass, and that's the thing. Like, who's gonna regard the Israelites? You know, with the lowest of low.
Fear not thy worm, Jacob.
Man, no one's gonna regard it, but that's why it's crucial for us to come back to our time.
That's right. Yeah, the scriptures say, I will be into this generation. He that hideth himself, man. You know.
Because our blessing wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, that's right.
That was Esau's blessing. And this battle is gonna be, when it starts off, it's gonna be fought with the sword, man. You know?
Hey, and like one of the elders said, if this was a carnal weapon, a carnal war, man, we would get our asses handed to us, man. Because we don't have no defense mechanism, man. Our defense mechanisms is the words of the Heavenly Father, which is the word of the Spirit. You know, the word of the Most High is the sword, man. Okay, which is what? Breaking down strongholds, man. Manifesting things that's going to be done here on the planet Earth by spiritual intervening, man. Okay, which will be what? YAHAWASHI raising up his men. And that will be what? Isaiah 59:19, man. Okay? That's standing on those men.
No weapon formed against you
Shall prosper, man.
You know, because, you know, the scripture say, it's the spirit that quickens, the flesh profits nothing. So at the end of the day, the spirit is going to overwhelm. Exactly. It's going to triumph or overwhelm this carnality, man. Those carnal weapons.
Yep. Scripture cannot be broken. Right. Jeremiah 30:7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it.
So, man, you got to understand, it's going to be, man, that civil war happened because you know, hey, it's a lot of militias out there already. You know, people preparing, people know that the government's getting ready to take guns. People prepared to go and have a civil war to fight against the government with their weapons. So it's gonna be a bad time, man. You know, evil.
Yo, Baba Kasha, I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, I was working at a gas station, man, night shift, and I saying a couple things to these Edomites, man. Hey, what the brother just said, man, he was some old Edomites, some hillbilly type Edomites, right? And man, as I'm talking to him, I was going into martial law and whatnot, and right before they left, they was like, damn, let's look. They say, I'll never forget this. They say, damn, this little shit knows his stuff, man. It was like, they say, this little shit knows his stuff. And you can see the demeanor that they had, like you said, they already got guns. Yeah, and this was years ago. Yeah. So how much more? Hey, they had that hunter gear on.
All kind of militia.
They're not going to hold back, man. They've been training, shooting at fucking walls and trees for how many years, bro? We can't wait to start ready, bro.
Hey, those same spirits are here, man. Esau is ready to use his sword, man. You know? Ready. Hey, you saw that during Hurricane Katrina. You know, I remember I saw that one video, Jake, they was shooting at Jake. Jake said he felt like something wet on his arm or on his back. Kind of find out they were shooting, they were shooting at him with shotgun shells. Wet. And then they played a video of the Edomites that was saying it, and they was laughing about how they was shooting at him, man. You know, so hey, they ready, bro. They ready. They want to use their bullets, man. Why you think those cops be so trigger happy? Here it is, you walking around with a loaded gun all day. They just want to use it.
Slow down there, boys.
They want to use it, bro.
Yeah, right down there.
They ready. They ready, man. These Americans are ready, bro, to use their weapons, bro. They're ready, bro.
It's in there.
It is. It's ready, bro. So this is the time of Jacob's trouble, man. You know, so hey, with that, man, we're gonna give all praise to Yahawah, Hashem, Yahawashi, Hashem, Kapadas. I want to the apostle, the great MILLSTONE, taught the truth, and blessings to all you babies out there, Christian truth and all sincerity. Shalom, Mark.
Shalom.